it is very important. I would say that the teamwork would make a dream works, and finding right people with the right skill for a job is very important. And that's why we always recruit the lawyers with with important things like they have to be excellent in communication and excellent legal knowledge. And we always recruit lawyers from leading Indonesian law school, and they have also to be natural leaders and that kind of stuff. And I would stop and give it to Ai.
Yeah, I just want to add the response for this question. As one of the Indonesian largest law firm, we are able to draw on top class expertise across all leading practice areas, with particular expertise in project finance, corporate M&A, including foreign direct investment, banking and finance, dispute, restructuring and insolvency, shipping and aviation. While our team is big by Indonesian standard, we have successfully avoided become trapped by the silo mentality, where people get trapped in their own comfort zone practice areas. While specialization is one of the utmost importance in a modern law firm, it is also essential that lawyers maintain the ability to work together across practice area boundaries in order to provide the type of complex, transdisciplinary, and transnational advice to our client require. So our lawyers are not only technical experts in their own chosen field, but are also able to collaborate closely with others throughout the firm and around the world to solve complex problems. In reality, ABNR is actually one big team rather than a combination of diverse practice areas team. It is our ability to work as a single team that produce outstanding results for our client.
Before I go into details on ABNR practice, perhaps allow me to briefly explain who ABNR is. So ABNR stands for Ali Budiarjo Nugroho Raksodiputro, but we are nowadays better known as ABNR. We were established in 1967, and so we have more than 15 years experience. We now have more than 100 lawyers consisting of 21 partners and approximately 90 associates, including 2 foreign counsel. And we are one of the largest independent full-service law firms in Indonesia. We also have global reach as the exclusive Lex Mundi member firm for Indonesia since 1991. We offer particular experience and industry-specific knowledge in various areas, among others, project finance and development, banking and finance, merger acquisition, aviation, real estate, and employment, up to the competition and antitrust practice. I think I will hand over to Ai.
Let me explain briefly about a few of those practices that Elsie mentioned. And I would start from the project finance. In project finance, ABNR advises the leading finance parties, sponsors, developers, and other relevant major parties in this area. We have also extensive experience working with the government of Indonesia, including state-owned enterprises. And also we have experience working with the upstream oil and gas regulator SKK Migas, working with a state energy company Pertamina, state electricity utility PLN, state rail operator Kereta Api Indonesia, and of course, including its subsidiaries or affiliates like PT Kereta Cepat Indonesia China, PT Railing, and PT Kereta Komuter Indonesia. And also we have experience working with state-owned port management companies. In banking and finance, we advise onshore and offshore financing, including domestic, cross-border syndicated, and bilateral lending transaction. We also advise on loan restructuring and the sale and purchase of loans. In merger acquisition, we are very confident because we are the market leader of the merger acquisition works, advising high-end domestic and multinational corporation, investment in private equity funds, strategic investor, and all aspects of merger and acquisition transaction. In dispute and alternative dispute resolution, we have experienced dispute and IDR team, which is have an impressive track record of win at all levels of the court. In IDR, we regularly represent client in arbitration proceeding in Indonesian National Arbitration Center, we normally call BANI, and also in international arbitration forums such as Singapore International Arbitration Center, Kuala Lumpur International Arbitration Center, as well as the Hong Kong International Arbitration Center. In employment, we advise multinational and domestic corporations on manpower and immigration law, including matters related to employment contracts, termination policies, strategy and their execution, employee benefit and entitlement, and regulatory compliance issues. So that's a very brief overview of some of our main practice area and what we do here at ABNR.
Well, this is a very good question because it really stands at the basic point what law firms are all about. We realize that our clients have a choice. And that means that we have to be better than our competition. And one reason why we are better than our competition, we think, is, first of all, because of our size. We're a very large law firm. As has been stated earlier before, we're over 100 lawyers. Now, of course, in your small individual practice size, that's not really important. But if you are doing a joint venture and you're doing a legal due diligence, sometimes you have to put up a team of 30 or 40 lawyers. We can actually do that. We also have a rich background going back for decades in history. We're not a new kid on the block. We've been around. And that is also something which our clients like, because we can put things in perspective. We can tell our clients that how it used to be 25 years ago and why it's different now. And lastly, we've had a long history of strong tie-ups with foreign firms. And our expertise shows the benefit. I have been a partner in White & Case for 6 years. And before that, I was a partner in a Dutch law firm. And this all works to add to what we can offer the client. Noorden, you want to take it over from here?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Theo. I would just add a few things, I guess, because Theo has described our offices, our office in general. But I would say that we are very flexible in terms of fee arrangement that we can provide with the lump sum basis and a cap fees, and this will help a client in set their budget for a project, especially during COVID-19 situation where they want to make sure that they spend right money on the law firm, and they can get the assignment finished and completed. And we also have, as Theo said, that we have maybe the largest associate in Jakarta. That would mean that we are prepared to do every job and assignment that would require many resources from our part, and that is also our strength, and that I believe that will differentiate our firm with others. Thank you.
First of all, I need to inform that we are fully committed to encouraging environmental, social, and governance awareness among our clients. We have a long-standing policy of declining instruction where a project is likely to be environmentally damaging. So we really assess, not just about the project, but about the impact that it might cause to the environment. Maybe Theo can also provide another insight on this.
Sure, I'd like to do that. One area where we really are focused on ESG is in our pro bono work. And that's something that our clientele doesn't know a lot about, but we have a very large pro bono practice. Why? Because we think it is up to our responsibility towards society. And there are a lot of institutions that require our work without having the budgets to pay for it. And in line with all other major law firms, I think in the world, we do pro bono work. We are probably that most proactive pro bono law firm in Jakarta. We don't know exactly, but what we see is that we are probably there. And we have won several awards for our pro bono work from Lex Mandi, the organization that we're a member of, and Hukum Online, that the Indonesian listeners will know about. And yeah, we think it is very much part of our contribution, and also therefore it stands in our commitment to promote ESG work.
Yeah, I'd like to add on the example work that we do at the pro bono. That the one that is taking place in 2019, which we help Netherlands-based company called Ocean Cleanup. That we help them in giving them regulatory legal perspective on the environmental, and that project involved the technology called interceptor that would basically catch the plastic before it reached the ocean. And I believe that project in Jakarta was very successful, and the Ocean Cleanup will use that precedent that they will use in other countries as well.
Okay, let me kick off with that answer, because it's important. Because the last year and a half have been so incredibly unusual, and it's a good question to see how we actually worked towards improving how we can do good work for our clients. We have helped them continue to do their business. That's the first one. Our teams have been made available throughout the crisis. And that wasn't so easy, because some of us had to ordered by the government to stay at home. We've adapted to the changes in client communication. We have all gotten used to communicate in a way that the client really wants us to communicate with. We also know that the client's business often has changed locally. Either their usual representatives couldn't enter the country because of immigration restrictions, or because basically the business had changed, and we've been able, at least we've tried, to adapt to their needs. And we're focusing on the long-term effects of the pandemic, and that's an ongoing process. We can't tell you right now where that's going to. An immediate concern, as I said earlier, was communication. We needed to change our communication lines quite drastically. Either it was the client who was in lockdown, or it was our own lawyers who either were in lockdown and worked from home. And our lawyers sometimes work from areas where internet coverage isn't always the same. So we've had some technical issues that we had to solve, and we did that. So I think we're there, and I think our clients can now expect a service which is pretty much the way it was before pandemic hit Indonesia.
Perhaps just to add a little bit, since the beginning of the pandemic, up to now, our office have been applying a working from home policy. And since then, we already try to enhance our technology support. For example, we move our physical server to cloud server, And then we also ensure that all lawyers and supporting staff have the appropriate technology support and, like Theo said, connectivity to perform all the works, which make us work very efficient and therefore provide additional value and benefits for the clients.
Yeah, this is actually a tough question to respond to, given that we believe we already value to the business of our clients. So it's kind of difficult to choose a specific practical example. But if we press to pick one, I would mention the case of a major U.S. foreign investor that produce specialty material that are used in the rapidly growing automotive industry here in Indonesia. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to mention any names. However, they come to us for initial advice on establishing a foreign investment operation here around, 3 years ago. We helped them with all aspects of this, including making the necessary arrangement with the investment coordinating board, handling the corporate establishment and registration process, finding them a suitable site in industrial estate, assisting them with initial hiring and preparing manpower policies that accorded with Indonesian law. Basically, we did everything for them. Anyway, they were very pleased with all this and keep coming back to us with more work. Then, say about 2 years ago, their Indonesian general counsel fell ill. And then they asked us whether we could help them by assigning an experienced lawyer to work with them, more or less full-time on site at their corporate head office near Jakarta. Of course, we were happy to help out, even though we also knew that this involves some risks, like they might decide that they like our lawyer too much, so they can hire him or her to become his international legal counsel. But it's okay for us as long as our client happy, we're happy.
Yeah, I just like want to add what I said on that instance, that when we do a secondment to when their in-house was sick, that we do not charge them on hourly basis, is on a returns basis, and they're quite happy on that, because apparently that approach helped them a lot, and help their budget as well, because they don't have the need to hire a big law firm during the illness of their in-house legal counsel, and yeah, I think that would give a benefit for them. We believe.
Clients came to law firms to seek guidance and direction on how to strategize their business or solve their issues. Well, at least give them some answers or possibilities that they can consider on their issues. Specifically for fintech sector, well, it involves startups. I mean, typically it will involve young, aggressive, and visionary people compared to a traditional large company. With this type of client, our firm is expected not just to provide a regulatory framework in Indonesia, but also how to structure their corporate organization and often their business model, so that it will not only fit into the regulatory landscape, but also able to grow in accordance with their vision. So often all of this must be done in a very short period, or in other words, you need to work fast and efficiently. In short, we are expected to be part of their team, not just as their legal counsel, and therefore we should cruise together with them in their journey of setting up and expanding their business in Indonesia.
Indonesia is the most diverse nation in the world, with varied with wide range of ethnic and religion, as well as languages. But in short, we could say that we don't, as a law firm, we don't differentiate them we accept all of them, and yeah, regardless regardless their religious belief, their languages, and their ethnic. So yeah, that's what we do.
Yes, to add, so as regard to gender, like many other developing nations, Indonesia continues to be a conservative and patriarchal society. But nevertheless, women always play a major role in the workforce, although subject to restrictions in the past, as was the case elsewhere in the world. As Indonesia's longest established law firm, ABNR play an important role in helping to overcome the restriction facing women in the legal field by being the first firm in Indonesia to appoint a woman as partner. So today, 9 of our 21 partners are women. Well, this is not yet an ideal balance, but we have been taking steps to add more women to our lineup. I mean, with the last 3 partners to have been appointed, all being women. But at the associate level, the gender balance is already around 50-50. At the entry level, approximately 60% of newly recruited lawyers at ABNR are women. So this is currently reflecting the gender makeup of fresh graduate from Indonesia's university. So we are fully committed to promoting equality, diversity, and inclusion. We have a strong track record on this issue, and we will continue to do all we can to help people to maximize their potential, whatever their sex, race, ethnic group, class, or religion.
First of all, I should say that I'm extremely grateful for this title being awarded to me. I had never expected it. It's something that really is a crown on my career within ABNR and in Indonesia. I'm tremendously honored also by this being given to me. And my gratitude goes primarily to my colleagues at ABNR, because without them, I could never have achieved what I have achieved over the last 30 years or so. Yeah, they've been so good to me. They've been hosting me for so long, and they've accepted my peculiarities. And I have tremendously enjoyed the cooperation. It was a really strong cooperation. It was teamwork all the way. And last but not least, I thank the Legal 500 for having given me this title. Thank you very much. It's been really good working with you over all these years. You've also asked me to give some valuable lessons to the younger lawyers that listen to this interview. And perhaps I can start with the lesson that I was given by my father. My father was also a lawyer back in the Netherlands. And he gave me this wonderful advice, which is really the first one I'd like to pass on to whoever listened to this. And that is, please listen and look into your resources. Before you answer any question from your clients, look into the law, because we're lawyers. And whereas you may have a lot of ideas what the law should be and what you think the law is, your basic first source is the law itself. So never, never answer a question from a client without having looked at the law. The second point, and he also told me that, don't give an answer that doesn't satisfy the client. Now, what I mean with that is that your answer should also always give the client the idea that he's come out his hiring you with a better position. If you just tell him, sorry, your problem is not solvable, we can't do it, and we don't know what to do with you, he's going to be terribly disappointed. So always, even if you have bad news, give the client the option to get better news by doing something else. The third one is be short. Be short as possible, because you think that the listeners and the readers of your advice are lawyers. Often they're not. They don't understand most of what you say. And if they're lucky, they understand where you're going to and what the outcome is. But therefore, be as short as you can, because lawyers tend to be rather long-winded, and nobody's really interested in that. In the same vein, if you write written advice, be as short as you can. I worked for an American company, an American law firm, and there the standard rule was your answer should be 1 page or at most 1.5 pages. If you need more time, you need more space, you need more things to explain, put it in an attachment. And if you need 2 attachments or 5 attachments or 10 attachments, that's fine. But your basic answer to the person who asks you that question should be a page and a half. And finally, and this is a commercial thing, often the client that you advise is not his own master. And what I mean with that is he's got a boss. And therefore you need to be able to satisfy him with an answer that his boss will also understand. Because otherwise you're giving an answer that for you is perfectly normal, but that the client who has to explain this thing to his boss doesn't help very much. Well, these are a few of the practical purposes. You hear that I am a practical person. And again, I am extremely grateful for this award being given to me. And I hope to be seeing you very soon again.